sometimes it's like a bad relationship. You don't know when it's going to turn again. And after a while, you become a part of the problem rather than the solution. I want guys that are solution-oriented.
Mike Singletary was a spirit guide for me in so many ways, especially in football and even with my personality in afterlife. Walter Payton and Singletary, I loved the way they played the game. I loved who they were as people. I was a Dolphins fan, still am a Dolphins fan, but I always had the utmost respect for them. So I wanted to use that famous Singletary quote to dial very quickly and succinctly in on this Stefon Diggs situation. Now, there was a whole brouhaha post the division round loss to the Bengals, and I didn't want to really get into it and cover it. I was going to, and I was like, let me see it play out. Could be just a thing that rises and dies. But it rose, it died, it came back, and now it's full force. This is a big, big deal in a very big, huge season for the Buffalo Bills. Now, I'm a Dolphins fan, and yes, this is good news for the AFC East. It's good news for the AFC, and it's very good news for the Dolphins. But I'm not celebrating that in the least because I have Tyreek Hill, who had one of these kind of meltdowns with Mahomes, and he was shipped out the following season. I think that played a part, wasn't really talked about much. But Tyreek Hill is a guy that if I celebrate this Diggs thing with the Bills too much, the football gods might laugh on me and make it happen with Hill. So I'm not relishing in this moment. But I love football. In a very dark childhood, football was a bastion of hope, a place of finding security and finding, a way to express myself. I love the game. It's taught me so much. Even now, I watch the game. I don't play, but I love it. I love the game of football. I love good people. I'm a people person. I love loyalty and honor. And even though I'm a Dolphins fan, I have pulled Josh Allen into my heart. I care about this guy. I like this guy. He's a good dude. He was on the ground, pushed down, through college, the way that people talked about him, leading up into the draft, post-draft for the first couple of years. I like the underdog. I like this kid. He's a good kid, and he's a real talent. So I like the guy. I really do. I don't want to see him beat my Dolphins. I love when we beat you, but it's about good people and football, and what's happening to him right now is bogus. What's happening to this Bills team is bogus, and it centers around Stefon Diggs, but there are other people culpable. Now, I like Diggs. I think Diggs is a guy I'd want to play with. He's so talented. He's so passionate. And he is right as much as he is wrong. He's right to be angry. He's right to be frustrated because I'm not a Bills fan and I cover them. And I got frustrated when I watched that game last year. I was like, what? I was talking to my buddy up in Rochester watching the game, and I was I'm like, what is this? So he is completely right to be frustrated. The repeating process of underachieving to a certain extent is again and again, but the object of his anger is completely wrong, and he is completely wrong in his approach. So I'm going to cover that. I'm going to start from the beginning. I'm going to use film and quotes and bring you through it and up to this point and then give my little take. And it's a shame. It's a shame that all these Bills fans, and I have some friends that are Bills fans, are dying to see their team win. And you got a guy like Josh Allen who gives his body if he was one of those quarterbacks, the blonde-haired guy who doesn't get hit and, and it's his fault, I could get Diggs. But Allen has been put into a terrible framework, and then he's had to be the lead rusher, banging his body around. And this yodel is doing what he's doing. It is so ridiculous. So I'm going to cover it fairly as a football guy. Again, no relishing in it. But I want to say thanks for stopping by, Bills fans, and my condolences for the stupidity of this situation. I hope for you guys it blows over quickly. So I want to give you a shout out. Thanks for stopping by. I want to give a shout out to Ace Bread, my sponsor, because without the two of you, this show ain't going down. Ace Per Head's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. This is about Diggs having issues with the team. Now, he signed a $96 million extension, 4-year extension. That'll have him to the age of 34 in 2027, prior to last year's season. So it ain't about money. He was extended. He was given that relationship bond, the commitment. And so it is about him having issues and going about it the wrong way. Now, my man Tommy over at Mafia Sports Report, if you're a Bills fan, you should check it out because Tommy is a great guy. Him and Mikey, I love him and Mikey. Show's really good. They need all the help they can get because they deserve it. But we've become real good friends. And he was saying, well, there was this talk about it. He was yelling at Allen because he was angry at Dorsey or the situation. I said, oh, all right. But it don't look that way. And I'm going to go over the evidence to show you. And really, guys, this is absolutely critical. I'm going to boil it down. This is a season. You're trying to get to the Super Bowl. Every Super Bowl team comes to that point of total opposition, and then the champion blows through that opposition and rises above the scrum to become champion. I'm sure maybe it was like a totally, easy walkthrough to the championship. Maybe there's some of San Fran teams and Dallas teams in the 90s. I got to go rethink it right now. But for the most part, 99% of the teams that win a Super Bowl, they've got to battle through stuff. And this is making it harder. Now, before I get into that, I want to play this little clip again from Singletary, from that classic post-game speech, just to really dial this in. And it's so obvious. So here we go. Let's listen to the man. Man, I miss you, Mike. Wish you were back in football. Mike Singletary.
This is how I believe, okay? I'm from the old school. I believe this. I would rather play with 10 people and just get penalized all the way until we got to do something else, rather than play with 11 when I know that right now that person is not sold out to be a part of this team. It is more about them than it is about the team. I cannot play with them, cannot win with them, cannot coach with them, can't do it.
Old school, sold out for the team. And remember what he said at the beginning, it's like a bad relationship. You never know when they're going to turn on you. We've all been in those relationships where, everything's sunshine, all something goes wrong. Where did that come from? And then it's like, it's okay. And then it just happens again and it pops up. And then you're constantly flinching because you never know when someone's going to have that meltdown. And really, after the game and what had happened, it didn't create that vibe. I'm going to start from there. But what we're seeing now, it is definitely magnifying, and it's saying it's metastasized. So if you go back and you look, you see this little clip here. You can see it was early in the game, and Diggs got a little low ball, and he gets up, and he's real frustrated. And I get that through the course of the game. I was like, But then you go through the game, and you realize he wasn't in that last drive too much. I tried to see, there was one play, maybe I saw him, but most of those last drive, he wasn't there. And then you get this. Walking up, Josh Allen is beat up. He's pretty much done everything he could do. Dorsey called a terrible game. Diggs is a smart guy. He knows more football than me. How could you not know it's a snow game? You don't run. Your quarterback's on the run. You're going deep. You were beat by a team with no offensive line to decide to run. And then you're going to point your finger at Josh Allen, who, he's not perfect. I'm sure he's culpable, but everyone's culpable. And the guy has been beat up, carried the offense through the pass game and the run game, and you're going to embarrass him like this. And then you got to get talked by Duke Johnson to stay, and then you blow out a couple of minutes after the game, and you're not there to suck up the loss, and then you got Allen sitting in front of the interview and having to talk about this and having to be the nice guy and having to suck it up. It is so disgustingly ridiculous. Now, Sean McDermott defended Stefon Diggs after the sideline outburst and early exit from the stadium on Sunday. That's what makes him good. Is what you saw. It hurts, and I wouldn't want the guy that doesn't hurt. McDermott has to know his player, and to allow a player to be excused, to embarrass the leader of your team, the quarterback, to leave and not be with the team in the loss, and then to coat this with ice cream was the beginning. What's that from Tropic Thunder?
You know how you handle an actor? They whine about anything. You pull down their pants and you spank their ass.
You spank that ass, Les.
What? Sometimes with these guys, like Singletary did, and maybe he didn't make it as a coach, but he turned around, what's his face, the tight end, I can't think of it, I'm so furious, career, because the guy understood. He showed him, dude, you are not being a football player. You're being a selfish baby. And McDermott right here should have spanked that behind. But he coddled him. And when you coddle babies, they continue. Now, you can see when asked about Diggs' absence internally, we're working on some football-related stuff. Allen's handling it the right way. Guys are competitive, Allen said to reporters. We don't want to lose. It's not fun losing. It's not fun losing that way. So it's all understood. At the end of the day, we all got to be here for each other and keep pushing us forward. And his absence totally obliterates this. There are some things that could have been done better last year, as I think an organization, maybe we're not communicating in the right way. And I agree on that. Diggs is not communicating the right way because you should not be pointing the finger at Allen. He should and if it's not about Allen, he should be making it absolutely clear who this is about, because right now it's clearly about Allen, clearly about him and the offense. And it should be about him and Dorsey saying, what are we doing? But it's not. Now, you see, Diggs responded a couple weeks after the game or whatever it was, maybe a couple of days or something. Want me to be okay with losing? Nah. Want me to be okay with our level of play when it's not up to standard? Nah. It's easy to criticize my reaction more than the result. Well, when you step out from the team and it's a team game, then you are the primary symptom. The result is created by a totality, and when you break free from the group, then you miss the whole basic foundational premise about football. And yes, it's easier to criticize you because you're the wart on the toad. That's the biggest.
It is more about them than it is about the team. I cannot play with them. Cannot win with them. Cannot coach with them. Can't do it.
Allen continued to try to mend the fences. I've got his back no matter what, Josh Allen on Stefon Diggs. I love him. Have you heard any of that from Diggs? Have you heard Diggs come out and say, hey, this is not about Allen, this is about this? No, you haven't. And that speaks volumes. It speaks volumes on his inaccuracy, his selfishness, and how that bottom needs to get a little spanked. Unfortunately, he signed that big contract, and now it's very hard to pull the golden sucker out of the baby's mouth and spank the bottom. What we got going now, we got from BR Gridiron, Stefon Diggs' agent, Bakari, said Stefon will be there for the entirety of the minicamp, despite not reporting today. So something weird is going on. He showed up and then disappeared again, which is it's a pattern. You have to have 3 data points to create a line. We have a long line, and it is clear. And this is not This is not what you want going into the season. And the media needs to hold him, and the Bills fans need to hold him to task. Now, Stefon Diggs is absent for the start of the Bills' mandatory minicamp, a development that drew comment Tuesday morning from Buffalo's coach, Sean McDermott. McDermott says he's very concerned about Stefon. Now he's saying it's concern. Before he's saying this is what we want. And this is where you got to start pointing the finger at leadership. It's not an easy situation, but he should have spanked that bottom.
Spank their ass.
You spank that ass, Les.
What? There are ways to contractually control a player, and Bean and McDermott should have understood hardcore that this was out of control by what they saw, but they played nice along with Allen. And I think this is a problem. The baby has gone out of control. Now, update by Josina Anderson. I'm told by private talks have taken place for a while now because Stefon Diggs' camp and the Bills, and there was an understanding that the sides were understanding. So they're conversing back and forth. There's some things going on, heated conversations. There's a whole brouhaha leading up to this. And people thought they were on the right page, but what did Singletary say? He says you never know in a bad relationship when they're going to turn on you. And the turn just happened. That's why McDermott's comments today caught some off guard. There's hope that the HC will clarify soon. And you see the bottom here, Diggs was there yesterday, there this morning, and left before practice. Terrible. And again, this is a great one. Mike 10, he's got some good stuff, man. This guy is funny. I really appreciate him sometimes. Diggs has been at Bills minicamp all day. I was like, well, they got to scrap this whole thing. You got me. The reason for the confusion, they started the day by working on their 3rd and inches package and sent him really deep. This guy's really deep in selfishness and foolishness. And he is so off in so many regards. It needs to be DEFCON 1 with the media, with the Bills staff and with Bills fans to put the pressure on this guy, because this is what they call, in scientific terms, jackassery. So I've got my little notes here, and I want to, because I'm trying to keep myself reined in. Allen needs to take another step forward. It's so hard when you're a nice, good guy. But there's times, as a leader, you need to spank that bottom. He is the franchise, not Diggs. Allen is the guy that's constantly being asked to do more. And sometimes the nice guy, whether you like him or not, but Jordan Peterson, he had this whole thing on you have to embrace the dark side of your nature in leadership in order to be the best kind of leader. And it's not to say the evil side, but it's a side that you don't have to be, oh gosh, the guy just spit on me in front of the public and he's doing everything that's wrong, but I love him. He's a good guy. No, get your beep back into practice. You're a player. We need you. Are you with us or not? Allen and McDermott need to step up their game, and they need to have the strong, firm, loving relationship with Diggs. And Diggs needs to wake up and look at the play calls, look at the philosophy, look at the scheme, and stop looking at Allen. And if he's not looking at Allen, make it clear who he's looking at, because he's supposed to be solution-oriented. He wants to win. He loves his team. Then he needs to step up and speak clearly about what the problem is. And the problem is the philosophy. The problem is the imbalance. The problem is the play calling. And then underneath, there's some stuff. Allen needs to be a little more accurate. And Diggs has things to take care of. But clearly, this is not Allen's fault. And Allen needs to step up, and so does McDermott and Bean. This could ruin the Bills' season. this would be a disaster of epic proportions, because when that bad time comes and you need unity and you need trust, that's when the bad relationship could strike. And I know he wants to win. I know he wants to go to the championship. But you know what? What you want isn't always the right path when you're doing it the wrong way. There's no way that this is going to help you get to a championship. Either say, I want to be traded and be off the team, or come up and show up and stop being a baby. Anyway, I want this AFC East to have the epic battle that I see that it can be. I want Diggs in. I want the best Bills team. I want my Dolphins to not have Tehran injured. I wanted these teams to play. I want us to go against Rodgers, and I want to see O'Brien get Mac Jones to the best. I want to see these 4 teams battle it out, and I want my Dolphins to take it to the top against the best competition. Right now, Diggs is screwing up so bad. I'm sorry, Bills fans. Josh Allen doesn't deserve this. You guys don't deserve this. But there needs to be an outcry that this guy needs to grow up. Anyway, this was my editorial. Very little scientific football type stuff here that I try to do. But this pisses me off. And I'm not a Bills fan. So anyway, go to saying thanks for stopping by. Catch you next time. Be well. See you soon. Best of luck. I mean that. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.